staying with us. We start here this morning. The recent introduction of the Retirement Fund's two-pot system will soon be an option for some workers and will enable them to dip into the savings part of their retirement pot. So, how will it work? What are some of the elements of it that workers need to take caution against? These are important questions that need special attention before March next year, when the Retirement Fund two-pot system is expected to be implemented. To help us understand this better, we're joined on the line by Hugh Hacking, who is Head of Structured Investments and Annuities at Momentum Corporate. Hugh, a very good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Perhaps in the most basic of terms, what is the Retirement Fund two-pot system?
Yeah, sure, Sibenzile. So essentially, as you know, retirement funds at the moment, you have a fund, you make contributions into it, it accumulates, and then at some point in time you can get your money out. What's being proposed now is that is split into two components. One, the so-called retirement pot, and the other one, the savings pot. So 2/3 of your savings will go into the retirement pot, and that you can only then access once you retire, so you can't get it before then. And then 1/3 of your savings will go into the savings pot, and that money you can withdraw periodically in the case of an emergency or other need of cash. So you can withdraw your savings periodically. So that's really the key difference.
Of course, currently it's very difficult to do so. Now you get heavily taxed if you want to access funds ahead of retirement age. This now makes 1/3 of that money available. Let's talk a bit about the cost that the employee is likely to carry here. We know that the funds are heavily taxed. Are we expecting that this will be the case here? And so people should be quite cautious about, when looking to withdraw these funds.
Sebenzile, yes, definitely, because the money that you withdraw from the savings pot will be taxed at marginal tax rates. So that's more than most people pay on average in tax. So it's important to recognize that when you do withdraw your money, it'll be heavily taxed, and so you're going to get less out than you might have thought you'd get out in terms of just looking at your balances. So that's something that people do need to take into consideration. What's also not clear at this stage is whether there might be transaction charges on those withdrawals as well.
Why is this being done, Hugh? One can see the benefit that for whatever reason, if somebody is in need of a bit of money, that they're able to access it and not have to wait until they're on the other side of 60 to access the funds and so on. But perhaps one may also argue a bit of a cynical view. Is this a way for the state to get more tax out of already highly taxed and overtaxed workers?
So I think this is an excellent question, and I think we need to rewind just a few years, first of all, to where a lot of research has been done to show that most people don't end up saving all the way from when they start working till when they retire. Invariably along the way, people cash in their retirement savings, and as a consequence, most people end up at retirement with too little saved for retirement. So that's the one problem. The second problem actually emerged during COVID, where obviously a lot of people were very distressed and lost their jobs, and people were in dire straits. And so there were calls made to allow people to withdraw a portion of their retirement savings. Now, obviously these things are complex, and so it's taken a few years subsequent to that to really get the plans together. So this plan, what it seeks to do is two things. The one is it wants to enable that people that are saving money into the retirement pot, that money is not touched until retirement. So you can't withdraw that, when you change jobs, etc. And so that will accumulate right up until retirement. And then also the savings pot, the idea is that it makes provision for some access to money earlier than retirement when people are in desperate need. So that it really is to try and deal with both of those problems.
Before people start salivating and getting excited here, it won't necessarily be immediate, and not everybody will be able to, in fact, access these funds as there is a cap. Can you just explain what that is, Hugh, how that will work?
Well, yes. First of all, the initial, right on day one, so 1 March next year, what will happen is that 10% of your current savings, up to a maximum of 25,000 Rand, right, will be transferred across into the savings pot, just so-called seed it. So that's the maximum that on day one you'll be able to withdraw of your retirement savings. So let's assume you've saved 100,000 Rand in your retirement savings, 10,000 Rand will be transferred across. That's all that you'll be able to withdraw on day one.
Mm-hmm.
But from then onwards, a third of your contributions will accumulate into that savings pot. So then if you left it, you didn't do anything, if essentially in 5 years' time, you'll be able to take a third of your savings out. So that's just something that people need to understand. You don't get all of it. You don't get a third immediately. That will build up over time. And bearing in mind, if you take it out every year, then obviously you'll never end up with a third that you're taking out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And is this ideally for people who are still quite early on in their retirement savings journey? So for people who've been saving for 20 plus years, might it perhaps look different for them, because they'll obviously have a lot more that they'll be able to withdraw?
Yes, well, you see, so first of all, this legislation is not going to impact people over 55. So if you're over 55, basically nothing happens to you. Your money, you stay as you are, kind of thing. That's what's being proposed at the moment. But so if you do start saving, and let's say you start saving at age 25, and you save for another 30 years up until age 55, and then you haven't withdrawn anything, then you'll have all of your savings at that point in time, and you can either retire at 55 or you can withdraw that 1/3 that you've been saving.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, you obviously, the longer you save it for in the savings pot, the more there'll be that you can withdraw at any point in time. But essentially, for people starting right now, obviously it starts slowly, it accumulates over time. There isn't money immediately available.
Mm-hmm. Hugh, we'll have to leave it there this morning, completely out of time. But thank you very much for explaining where we are headed with this two-pot system. I think the advice is very clear. Think very, very carefully about the decisions that you make. Hugh Hacking is the head of structured investments and annuities at Momentum Corporate.
SABC1 has made a few changes